Okay, thank you. This is your work with Casey Atkinson, who you see there in happy as rose when we could actually meet at his house. That's in San Diego. My paper has three topics: the relation between factors, dimensions, and facts, and I will argue that precedential constraint is best expressed in terms of factors, and factors are assigned to applicable dimensions on the basis of facts. Precedence constraint issues is the second point, and it's issues that constrain cases. So when thinking about precedence, you also think about issues, not cases as a whole. Factors in cases should be structured into issues to avoid irrelevant disputes. And the third topic is precedential constraint only needs factors. We don't need to express precedential constraint in terms of dimension. Where magnitudes are important, and they are important, we first describe factors on the basis of dimensional facts, and then we apply constraints. So the history of understanding precedential constraint is a lengthy one. At the very first edition, Edwina Rusland and Henry Ashley presented a paper which understood them in terms of dimension. In 1995 onwards, Cato, with Vincent Leland and Henry Ashley, introduced the notion of factors. Then Henry Plachen and Giovanni Starfield showed us how we could write precedents as rules. My contribution in 1999 was to consider the antecedents organized in partial order. And then still ongoing is work in formal characterization of precedential constraint, begun by John Hawking, continued by Adam Bajoni, and summarized by Henry Plachen in a paper this year. So, how do we move from dimensions to factors? The dimensions tell us what needs to be considered in a case. If the dimension is applicable, it may, not must, it may provide a reason to decide for one of the parties. These reasons are referred as factors. Factors refer the significance of the dimension in the particular case. Sometimes the dimension is either inapplicable or favours one side, in which case it will correspond to one factor. Sometimes it's inapplicable or neutral or favours a side, and the dimension may have more than one factor favouring the side to differentiate different degrees of favour. And sometimes the dimension may be neutral, or it may favour either side. And this dimension has distinct factors to the different sides. Factors should never be related. An action factor may be inapplicable, it may be neutral, it may be a factor for the other side, or a different, stronger or weaker factor to the same side. It's confusing to bundle these very different things under relation. So, moving from the dimension to a factor, let's consider the disclosures dimension. If we have no disclosures at all, dimensions in a precedent. An insignificant number will lead to no factor. A significant number will lead to a factor, S10 in paper. And in the public domain, we have the very strong co-descendant factor, S27 in paper. So as we move along the dimension, it's first inapplicable, then neutral, then descendant, then strongly descendant. It never favours the plane. Another dimension, security measures, can favour both the plaintiff and the defendant. So we have two distinct factors, S19 and S6. S19 applies if the measures are inadequate. S6 applies if they're adequate. So the dimension is always applicable, but there's a neutral area in which no factor applies. Precedents determine where these splitting points occur. S19 is not related to the aspect. It provides a reason for the descendant, but the neutral range does not. So now we consider how can we write precedents as a set of rules. A case can be seen as P union V implies O, where P is the plaintiff factors, V the descendant factors, and O the outcome. So P is the strongest reason assigned to the plaintiff. V is the strongest reason assigned to the descendant. And O will be either plaintiff or descendant, and will show which of these reasons is preferred. So we get three rules: a plaintiff rule, a descendant rule, and a rule expressing a preference between these, depending on the outcome. We can represent this graphically by representing the possible antecedents as two parts rulers. The one on the left for the plaintiff, the one on the right for the defendant. Now a precedent will place an arc between these rulers. So if we have A, B, C, D, E decided to the plaintiff, that shows that A, B, C is preferred to D, E. If B, C, D, E is decided to the defendant, that shows that D is preferred to B, C. Now if we have a U case, it's constrained if it's a reproducible cycle. If we have a case A, B, C, E, then we can put the arrow at either end and there's no cycle. So we can do what we like with cycle. However, if we have C, D, E, that's constrained to the descendant. If we were to decide to the plaintiff and prefer C to D, E, we need to use the cycle. We can't have a cycle, and so we have to decide to the descendant. This basic idea has been formalized starting with John 40, going on to Latin with Henry, and finishing this year with Henry Capon. And there's a list of the papers. The formalization is rigorous, and it shows that all the desirable properties we would want to hold do in fact hold. And it comes in two forms: the results model and the reason model. The results model uses all available factors. No interpretation is needed. Both sides offer their strongest reason. But, unfortunately, it does not in fact constrain many cases. It only supports a tutorial reason, in use case, if it is to be constrained, must be subsumed under the pressure. But we want more than this. We want to be able to argue for cases which, while not subsumed, are constrained by the pressure. Suppose we have a case with security measures, invasive techniques, and disclosures are outside, and a precedent which has similar factors, but also the unique product. We want to say that the use of invasive techniques, such as wiretapping, is sufficient. The actual uniqueness of the product as written. But on the results model, the precedent does not bind because SAC is not there. And this is even though we have a much stronger factor S6 in the new case. To rectify this, Paul's introduced the reason model. Now the reason model contains only a subset of the available factors. It represents a sufficient reason which, although it's not the strongest reason, is still enough to defeat the opposing reason. The losing rule still has all available factors, and the reason model has the same formal properties as the result model. But there are three problems. How to determine which factors constitute the reason? It's possible that cases are reinterpreted in the light of new decisions, which would disrespect the reason model rather than obeying the result model. And even the results reason model does not constrain enough cases. Irrelevant distinctions are still possible. To find the answers to this problem, we look back to issue-based prediction, which was introduced by Jeffrey Blumenhouse and Kevin Apple. Whereas Plato was designed to generate arguments, not to predict outcomes. So it didn't matter whether there was constraint or not. The user evaluated the argument. But when Plato was adapted to prediction by Jeffrey and Kevin, they found that Plato abstained on far too many cases. Plato was considering irrelevant distinctions, like the unique product in the example earlier. So Plato instead considered cases issue by issue rather than as a whole. So IBC considered cases issue by issue. And this conforms nicely with the IRAC model, widely taught in law schools, where we analyze a case into the issue, the rule governing the issue, not the case as a whole, the application of the rule and the conclusion. So I would argue that thinking in terms of issues rather than cases conforms to this widely used method of reason analysis. The issues form a logical model. They're related logically, and so there's no need to balance them. Once the factors are resolved and the various least nodes are known, then we can infer the conclusion. So what is the role of factors? The role of factors is to determine the least of the logical model. Each issue is associated with a small group of factors. Factors can relate to more than one issue. And because fewer factors are involved at the issue level, the decision is much more likely to be constrained. There are 8,192 possible decisions, to both the sentence and the plaintiff in paper. So imagine the size of the lattice that we have to the possibility. However, there are never more than 32 possible antecedents to any issue in IDP. And this enables us to ignore irrelevant distinctions. In the paper, I have a full-worked example, but because of the time available, I will jump straight to the last page. The case in question is Boeing, which considers certain manufacture of aircraft windows, cockpit windows. There are a number of relevant precedents: national instruments, television, which is about a PBX, and Bryce, which is about software methodology. And we can see that these cases are, in some respects, similar to Boeing. Boeing is identical to television on the grounds of secrecy, and it's identical to Bryce with respect to the actual confidential relationship. None of the issues are in Boeing are opposed. Information valuable simply is accepted, and improper means of info used is established by the use of respective material. So we really want Boeing to be constrained because television solves the issue of secrecy, and Bryce solves, or rational instruments, which Bryce follows, solves the issue of confidential relationship. But on both the results and reason models, F1 will distinguish television, and F10 will distinguish Bryce and rational instruments. It's only if we think in terms of issues that we can constrain Boeing using television for secrecy and rational instruments for confidential relationship. And this is what we want. So the argument is that we actually need to incorporate the domain knowledge, the knowledge of the structural cases represented by issues. This is because we want Mason and we want Boeing to be constrained by the precedents in the example. And issues are needed so that the irrelevant differences can be ignored and the cases constrained. Preferences are correctly located at the issue level. And this was recognized by Carl Brankin as one of 1991, his paper Losing the Portion Perspective. It was exploited by IBP in ICAO 2003, but it's still currently not exploited in the former House of Precedential Constraint, as represented by Henry paper. Also, for explanation in terms of value, issues allow values of things to be local to issues rather than global, and the global requirement has presented problems in the past for value-based explanation. Now for come on to the third topic, factors of magnitude. Many factors seem to have a continuous favour. The number of disclosures from bulk to many thousands. The extent of security measures from minimal to performance. The ease of research engineering. I know that at a glance, but it may take me several years of study and experiment. The length of stay in various domiciles. And all these look like dimensions rather than factors. So how do they work with precedential constraint? This has recently been explored by the usual suspects, John Halsey, Atom Mechanic, Henry Capon, and even by myself to some extent. The question is, do we need to change our account of precedential constraint to accommodate dimension? And our answer is no. Precedential constraint uses factors, not dimensions. And the reason for this is reasoning with precedents involves two stages. Firstly, we identify the factors, sometimes termed intermediate precedents in the literature, on the basis of facts. And we find this in jurisprudence, what is taboo paper. We find it in AI and law, Ashley and Willingham. We find it in jurisprudence again, with Lars Linger and others, and we find it in AI and law in Capon et al. Identifying constraining precedents by comparing factors is the second stage. We got rid of the dimensionality in the first stage. Consider, for example, disclosures. The number of disclosures is a dimension, ranging from naught to very many. However, the particular number of disclosures in a particular case is a fact. If it's naught, the dimension is impossible, there's no factor. If it's a very small number, there is no factor because it's not significant enough. If there are many, the factor is x10, and if it's in the public domain, the factor is x27, the very strong dependent factor. And of course, which factor applies may be determined by precedent. I also want to say something about trade-off. Sometimes factors are not independent. Look at the example from Capon and Sartor used by John Halsey. This concerns the same as fiscal homicide. It depends on the length of stay and the percentage of income from abroad. The shorter the stay, the bigger the percentage needed. Absence and percentage are dimensions, and in a particular case, the particular absence and particular percentage of facts. The factor is income sufficient with an absence. And once the factor is realized, we can apply precedential constraint to it in terms of facts. As an example, consider the trade-off between income and absence. There's precedent 1 at 66, precedent 2 at 28, and precedent 3 at 2010. Clearly, there's a trade-off because we have the same percentage, but a different factor because of a different length of stay. The precedents show that this area, the area to the northwest of the line, does not apply, and the factor applies northwest, but it does not apply southeast of that line. And so we can fit a line to show the trade-off. Several lines are possible. This one is most generous to the node center. So,
Trevor,
to summarize, there are different roles for precedents.
Sorry, Mr. Trevor, 5 more minutes, okay?
I've only got 2 more slides. There are framework precedences identified by Rizzoni in the AI and Law 2015. And these tell us what the issues are. And the issues can also come from factors and structures that the statement is. Then there are restriction factors, and these determine whether a factor applies on the fact. E.g., 12 months is a short stay, 3 years is a long stay. And we can use either the results or the reason model to factor restriction. Finally, there are traditional precedent questions. These are the standard sort of questions found in paper. And these establish which side has to respond to these. And they may also indicate values. And that's also.
Thank you very much. Well, we won't have time for questions, but in the other panel, when we're going to stream it, then we can have the questions answered, okay?
I think the session was half an hour. Oh, they take 20 minutes.
Sorry?
It's only 10:02. Let's start at 1.
Oh, one question. You want to answer one question then?
No, I'm saying that you have 10 minutes then before the next session.
Okay, so, okay, let's have a
It's the
question.
last, I think. There is time for them.
So, does your account of factors and dimensions presuppose that for every value of a dimension, it can be determined which side it favors, if any, is from Precedential?
The answer is yes, this is presupposed, but it's also the fact of legal decision. When factors are introduced in legal opinion, it is always clear which side is favoured. For particular dimensional facts, such as length of stay, there is sometimes not clear which side is favoured. And this is why we turn to restriction questions.
Mr. Trevor, the first question was done by Precedential, and the question is, does your account of factors and dimensions principles that for every value of a dimension, it can be determined which size it favors, if any?
Yes, a judge always has the power to say that this dimension favors this side or that side or the future. It may not be constrained by precedent, but if it's not constrained, a judge can and indeed must make the decision.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Trevor. And the second one is, can you think of difference on civil law and common law systems when analyzing decisions using precedential constraints?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I got a bit of noise here.
Can you think of difference on civil law and common law systems when analyzing decisions using precedential constraint?
In civil law, precedents are used more to guide than constrain, but the general reason involved is, I think, very similar.
Yes, and the last one, the role of issues in legal reasoning is similar to the role of values in deciding among competing factors.
Can you repeat that? Sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yes, I can say it again. The role of issues in legal reasoning is similar to the role of values in deciding among competing factors.
I'm not quite sure I think that. I think that values decide amongst competing factors, that factors compete to resolve an issue.